All right. So we were originally weren't going to have a discussion this week, and then something really awful happened in that Disney decided to lay off pretty much all of the equity performers at Walt Disney World, 720 out of 780, which is obviously a considerable amount. That includes Streetmosphere at Hollywood Studios, the Citizens of Main Street at the Magic Kingdom, Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo the Musical, Indiana Jones, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, Monsters Inc., Laugh Floor. Which ones am I missing?
Citizens of Hollywood.
Some of the Voices of
I
Liberty.
said Citizens of Hollywood. The backup, I think a lot of the backup performers in Voices of Liberty, whoever's not coming back when that returns in a couple days. Yeah, so obviously this is terrible. I ranted and raved on News Today this week already. And based on the number of people tweeting with the fire hashtag, the Fire Chapek hashtag, I think a lot of people heard what I had to say. I wanted to know what the rest of you had to say about this. I'm sure, you know, we are all diehard Disney fans, so I guarantee there is one, if not several of these groups that mean something to each of you. So I'd love to hear how you guys feel about them.
First of all, that clip you just saw was the ghost of Disney entertainment future. so
They'll just play music and you can sing along.
It can get worse.
Yeah. It's voice. Yeah.
I'm friends with some, like on Facebook, with some cast members that are in the in entertainment that have just been laid off, and seeing like the feed is pretty atrocious. It's very, very sad, and I can't imagine, because all of these people are in a very tight-knit community, that they all kind of know each other. They're all friends. They've all worked with each other for a long time. I'm sure they hang out outside of work, and I'm sure that having lost their own jobs, and then having almost like every single one of their friends and coworkers have lost their jobs, and just seeing all of that in their social media on top of all the other things that they're also getting on social media is probably just this utter sadness. So there's just a whole other level to it that just makes it very, very sad.
Well, we've been hit with like these waves of depression at this point, right? Because they announced the 28,000, everyone looked around and was like, well, who is it? And obviously, because, you know, they have no soul, the 28,000 were not people decided upon. It was an arbitrary number that was picked. And then they were like, all right, let's go do it. And then instead of, you know, doing it all in one weekend via email, it was done in first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave. And then finally we get to this, and it's miserable. It's been every couple days, your whole social media is just filled with all these people who are passionate about this company and wanted to work for them and make magic for people. And you just keep seeing them all like, well, all my plans for my life are over. And it's terrible.
Well,
it's awful.
It's sad on so many different levels. Like, it's another one of those things that's really hard to talk about, especially when you have things stuck to your face.
I know this is not, obviously, it's a week we weren't going to do anything, you know, but it would be terrible to not.
Yeah.
It's not fair to skip a week when people are in trouble right now.
But, you know, there's obviously the selfish aspect. We all love the parks. I mean, that kind of entertainment is integral to the experience. I mean, there's just no way around that. I mean, there's just a fact. And then if you've spent any time living here in Central Florida, and you're in this community that loves the theme parks, you're going to know how like special that community, the you know, the performing arts community is around here. I mean, and it's tied right into the theme parks. And as long as I've been here, you know, going to school and then living here for you know, a couple decades now, I mean, I see, like, you know, that's a community. And so I really, you know, so yes, selfishly, I want to see those people entertain me when I go to the parks. But I mean, you know, that whole community is just devastated now. They've lost all their jobs. They lost their, and you're right. This is like, you know, this is something that they love to do, and it's something they chose for, you know, to be, you know, a stepping stone for their career, you know, in a lot of cases.
During the closure, I mean, all of these guys did something, right? I know, like, a number of the citizens would do that daily pun thing on Instagram. And how many of them did we have on WDW Live, Party with Pete, and other shows? We had Streetmosphere people, we had Yeehaw Bob, we had Carol, we had all of these people, most of which are now
scenario.
gone.
Yeah, one scenario.
You know.
One scenario.
Wow.
The other thing is, a lot of these cast members, when these layoffs were announced, I don't know that they had kept a running tally for people. So a lot of these people, I think, there were a big ball of nerves and like right up until October 1st.
Yeah.
Right. These people are thinking, all right, like fiscal year stuff, and
We made it,
it's
right?
the end of the month,
That's
and
what
they're
makes
hanging
it
by the
so
phone,
much.
and our friends are getting plucked off one by one.
Yeah.
That were different
And
cast
the
members,
orchestra's
and they
already
can't
announced
right.
and
The
knows,
right.
right?
So they can't relax, and finally you think maybe okay, we're a few weeks into October, maybe I can relax a little bit,
Yeah.
and then boom. And so not only does it have this devastating effect on people that lost their jobs, but there's a lot of other people that have to be waiting, sitting there with the sword of Damocles over their head right now going, what am I next?
And it's
then the
done via
performers-
email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the
We were at-
performers that stick around end up with like this huge sense of like survivor's guilt almost.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure they're grateful to have their jobs, but it's still just as devastating for them to see
They undoubtedly
their
know a
peers.
ton of people who they've worked with who are no longer there. Yeah.
We were at Dahlia after we filmed our carpool karaoke, and there was a gentleman behind us that was talking about one of his friends who was on the streets of Hollywood, and this gentleman has been there for 31 years.
Yeah.
And he says, like, he gets an email with, "Dear cast member."
31
Yeah,
years.
dear cast
31
member.
years, not even a name
gross.
in it.
It's gross.
It's like,
You
it's
have
hard.
enough middle management that could have called 720
Indeed.
people.
It's just like
Yeah.
this email, this standard email that everybody gets,
Yeah.
like 31 years, like, here you go. Thank you, dear cast member. It's just gross.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think everyone knows my Hollywood Studios affinity, and with Citizens gone, I don't even know what's left of that park that I care about at this point. It's the remaining soul of that park, and I feel like they were. I'm going to take this off because I'm ridiculous, and this is not ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous in a whole different way. They are the remaining soul of that park, and I just feel like they were so connected to what that park was and the bridge to what it is now.
Yeah.
So to lose them is just to lose so much of the character of that park. They were so much a part of that anytime I see people bring up Great Movie Ride as like a thing for a pun joke or something, and you'd see it in their face. They're like, oh, because that's their home. That park was their home.
And it's not like the citizens of Hollywood didn't bring in huge crowds every time.
Oh, absolutely.
Even up until March, people were like every time they pull up, people would just crowd around and be like, it'd be a great way to spend like half an hour listening to really good improv comedy. It never got stale. I could hear those jokes, and they come up with whatever whatever the audience would give them, which you can't, that's the hardest thing about these layoffs. These are immensely talented people with very specialized talents.
Yeah.
You can't just go now to McDonald's and flip burgers. All right, you're wasting that talent. These are like, so what do? They can't just transition. They don't transition as well as other cast members or other people who might work in other segments.
This isn't Los Angeles either. We don't have a
big movie.
giant entertainment industry in Orlando. I mean, there's a cultural scene, but that's not doing great either.
And just look at that Marlin Talk segment. I mean, comedy's hard to do. The improv
It is,
comedy
it is.
like
I
that.
tell you, we're nowhere
Not
near
every-
as talented as these people.
not everybody
on
can
there.
do it.
Yeah.
One of the things, like I was off for a few days, and we wanted to go. We had a trip planned to the boardwalk, and then this news came, and both we were so in a thing like, Disney really go. And I'm not going to swear on this episode.
You already said
Hey,
one word.
don't
Go.
offend anyone
So
either.
F yourself. And we canceled that trip and stayed at Universal. And then today we walk around and there's entertainment on that corner, entertainment on that corner.
Yeah.
Oh, look, drums there. Oh, look, they.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they can have my money. They can still try.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hope that a lot of people will think alike, and they will say like, they don't deserve my money. If they don't have the people that can make me happy, getting a boarding group from my bedroom at 7 a.m. will not replace the people.
What are you
that
supposed to
make
do
me
while
happy.
you're waiting for that boarding group now?
Yeah. Well, to piggyback from what you just said, I don't have an annual pass for Disney. I stopped annual passes when I couldn't park hop. Like, there's no point. Like, I don't go to the parks for the rides, honestly. I don't go to the parks for the rides. I don't go to the parks for the restaurants. I have eaten in, I can name them all in like one hand, you know, kind of thing, of all the like restaurants that I've been to on property. What I go for is the entertainment. And I'm not paying Disney until the entertainment comes back, because I'm not doing it. Just like you said, Universal still has entertainment. Universal got my annual pass is paid in full at Universal, because I was like, you know what, you guys can take it.
Yeah.
But Disney, no, I'm not doing it.
What was
I'm not.
it that,
I talked to something, maybe it was you.
Yeah.
With Universal, and I think it was because you asked me, it's like,
Yeah,
well, Universal
what's the
found a way to
difference?
bring all these people back, and I said, that's because at least from a operation standpoint, Universal is kind of what Disney used to be when it was smaller. Everyone knows everybody. So everyone in management who makes those decisions, what we're going to cut, what we're going to keep, knows the two guys that play the Blues Brothers and the guy on the sax and, you know, everyone in that show. And they're like, well, we can't cut the Blues Brothers. This has been here since opening day. This is a part of who we are. We can't cut, you know, the people in this show. This is part of who we are. We know Jim. We can't cut. Like, that's kind of what happened at Universal, where they were like, if we're coming back, let's find a way to do socially distanced stuff and find a way to put all these guys back to work. And they did the Marilyn Monroe show, Beetlejuice, all of those things, the horror makeup. They're like, we got to figure out a way to get horror makeup to work again, and they did.
The funny thing is, horror makeup show I think now is funnier because of the fact that they can do those jokes.
Those
And it's
physical
like, no,
jokes with
six,
the hand
you know, like
signs.
6 feet. You got to be 6
Yeah.
feet. Like, you know, it's just
Yeah.
really good.
And people
On the other
waited.
hand, Universal started a brand new show.
Yeah.
Like the Bourne Spectacular, like, boom, here you go, pandemic, and we're still going to do it.
Meanwhile, at Remy, we put up the sign. Hey! The two remaining Imagineers with a forklift.
I mean, that's what Disney has done. I think it's just looking at numbers. And yes, that cast member that has been
Everyone's
there
a number.
on the streets for 31 years, he earns more than this young guy who comes
Yeah.
in and just
Well,
runs
that's
around.
usually what happens to Streetmosphere. Every year we lose someone who's been there a long time. But this time it didn't matter. This time they let them all go. There's no Citizens of Hollywood is dead and over. And I said this on the show, but this needs to be repeated. A lot of people are like, I'll come back. Whatever. Festival of the Lion King will come back. Hoop-de-Doo will come back. That makes money. That'll come back.
But not the citizens.
This little stuff ain't coming back.
Yeah.
They're not going to come back because they have looked for years to what are the acts we can cut, what can we get away with, and people would always tell them, you can't cut Citizens of Hollywood, people are going to be upset. You can't cut the Grand Floridian Society Orchestra, people are going to be upset. You can't get rid of the mayor of Main Street and Smokey, people are going to be upset. And then I think I said it through the beginning of the closure. I sure as hell said it on the episode right after the orchestra was fired. I said, I know those, I'm not going to say it, those people like this, they're like, all right, this is it. We can blame it on COVID. We're finally going to do it. And the bloodbath happened. And they'll blame COVID, but everything's not going to come back. Nemo ain't coming back. They killed Frozen in California. Nemo ain't coming back either. This was entertainment is expensive. This is the opportunity. Let's burn it to the ground. And I'm not saying entertainment won't exist. There will be a handful of shows, but we have seen, especially since the mid-2000s, we have seen such a significant decline in the number of entertainment offerings at Walt Disney World. Like, let's study it this way. Let's look at Magic Kingdom. Before COVID, how many entertainment offerings actually existed at Magic Kingdom, right? Dapper Dance, Philharmonic, Afternoon Parade. What, Jack Sparrow would come out sometimes? You have Jack Sparrow. Country Bears come out, some meet and greets. What other entertainment acts are left in Magic Kingdom?
Sunny Eclipse.
That's an animatronic.
Because they killed,
That's
they killed the
Royal
fantasy.
Friendship.
Yeah.
But how much?
Yeah.
Royal Majesty Makers, Giggle Gang,
Yeah.
Fantasyland Woodwind Society. Remember them? No, because they quietly got rid of them. There used to be Abandoned Tomorrowland. There were bands everywhere. Every land had a band. There was a steel drum band.
Scotland had a whole
And Future World had a band. You remember that? What was it, Christos? There was that gymnast group.
Yes.
What was the last time you saw anything that wasn't a goddamn janitor in Future World? They have cut every entertainment group they could get rid of. World Showcase, how much they destroyed World Showcase the last 10 years. Fife and Drum, which went back to 1971, we lost. Off Kilter, which people loved, that last show, you couldn't move on that whole side of World Showcase. From Morocco all the way to Imagination was locked because people love that group. Even Moroccan had a huge group.
Moroccan.
A huge group there last show. British Invasion. We lost the drummers in Japan. The last day, they fired them. The day before they closed the goddamn parks, they fired the taiko drummers and what was the other group?
English.
Oh, and chair magnets.
Yeah.
That's he's a chair. That's what I used to call it as a joke. But le serveurs d'amusement or whatever. Axel can say it correctly.
Ah, oui, oui.
Yeah. What was it?
Serveur de... D'amusement?
Yeah.
Oh.
Whatever. So let's not pretend that this has not been the trend to this point. I don't want to hear people, they'll be back. They won't all be back. The Grand Floridian Society Orchestra ain't coming back. Citizens of Hollywood ain't coming back. Main Street Citizens ain't coming back.
And the
Moving forward, what do you think they're going to do now with Festival of the Arts coming back?
What do you mean?
Right, but usually that has like a huge showcase of like different performers.
Oh, those are usually like outside talent,
Right,
though.
but
The
will
Disney
they
on
bring
Broadway
those
people
back?
and
Is that just going to be the answer to outsource entertainment?
yeah, probably. That's what they've
non-union-
done.
They can sell dining
That's what they did,
packages.
inviting groups to fill that that Canada stage has been in rotation since Off
Yeah.
Kilter left after that stupid lumberjack show. It's been in rotation since because they can't get people to stay, number one, and number two, they don't want to put anyone under contract. So they bring back the Holiday Voyagers every year, and then Bodak Tan comes in like 4 weeks a year. It's a bad situation.
The thing that sucks, like at least in my eyes, also is that they're cutting people that you can't learn what these people do in training. This is years and years and years and years of training, years and years and years of practicing your.
You can't
your-
teach
and
someone
mastering your
31
art.
years of improv on the street, right?
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
impossible.
It's like you can't do it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
even to think that you can just get someone and pay someone, like the minimum to be able to do the same thing. Like just go out there and do it. Like you can't. You just can't do it.
Well, and that's like going what Tom said, that it's not coming back because you can't just turn on a switch and bring this stuff back. And,
But they don't
even
want
if and even if you did, it's not even going to be anywhere near the same quality as you had before when you had these people that were there for decades and decades.
They
you
think
know?
all their guests are dumb. They think all we want is rides and themed churros. That's all they think of us. They have no understanding. And I said on the show, they have no understanding of what people love about this. They have no understanding. They are so far lost from what they were and who they are supposed to be, this company. And it begins at the top when you put a guy from merchandising in charge of a creative company. All he sees is numbers and dollar signs, and he restored his own salary and then let the bloodbath begin. He's a piece of garbage. He is a piece of trash. And I can say that and feel no remorse, the way he feels no remorse for anyone in this company that's going to get let go through all of this. That's the end. That's all I have to say. I'm good.
Tweet.
That's the reason why people are pass holders. I mean, like, I enjoy going to, on the attractions and at the different restaurants as much as anybody. However, even though, the citizens don't directly make money, like you don't sell a ticket to go see the Citizens of Hollywood, I am an annual pass holder because my experience changes every single time I go to these parks
Right.
Yeah.
because of the live entertainers. And
Yeah.
that is the value to me of being an annual pass holder and constantly going, because I'm constantly getting a new experience.
Yeah.
And I've worked at other places where they kind of, like my work was like the extra. It was like the cherry on top. And we weren't seen as directly bringing in money, so we were seen as disposable. So who would get cut? You know, the extra special programs because it doesn't bring in dollars. But that's why people sign up to be members at my institutions. That's why people are annual pass holders because of those extra things.
Well, a Disney term is surprise and delight. Entertainment is a surprise and delight. That is their own term.
So they're
Right, it's not just people that have dedicated fans, like that always go to see the Citizens of Hollywood. It's the discovery that you make, knowing that you can go to the parks and find something that you maybe didn't even anticipate finding. I don't go to the parks to ride Slinky Dog Dash every, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fine ride, but you go for that discovery. You want to find
pass is the same every time.
Right, but you want to find something new every time you go. You want to just something that draws your attention and entertains you and delights you. And so, aside from the people who are devoted fans, there's just that whole sense of wonder and discovery that's gone.
Well, hey, let's talk about something. Galaxy's Edge. Why do people not like Galaxy's Edge? Because they didn't follow through with the goddamn entertainment. Which was the thing most people wanted. Star Wars fans are like, oh, I can't wait to see aliens and droids talking to me, and all these. It's going to be this living, breathing world, and it's not because they didn't believe in entertainment as a value to any project.
The wonder is gone. They just want the same formulaic experience for every generic family who comes every year.
It's lazy. Easy.
They're lazy.
They'll pack the parks.
Yeah,
They'll still pack the park.
You know.
They will, but and I said that somebody brought up, like, oh, people are going to stop going, and I'd be like, new people will come, and these new people won't know what they missed, and they'll ride Runaway Railway and be like, I love it, it's great. And maybe you would if you hadn't seen what they were capable of before, and haven't seen what has been done with these same creative people allowed to do something, with a budget and with care, and people aren't going to get it. They're going to show up, and those of us who know what we're missing are going to leave and walk away and be done with it. And the next generation will show up. But that's what this company has done best the last 20, 25 years, is give you something amazing and then take it away from you and replace it with something subpar in relation. That's mostly what the last 20-something years of this have been.
Well, the big difference is the newer generation, where we would say, like, oh, there's that, and then there's entertainment, and then this, right? And we would go very often, like, if you live here, like, of course. But the newer generation is like, oh, we've seen Disney, so we're good for the coming 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And they won't have those people coming in and out. And that's what Disney wants. Disney doesn't want to sell annual passes. They don't make money with annual passes. They want those people that come once every 5 years and then spend a ton of money to stay in a Star Wars hotel or to stay at the Grand Floridian. But hey, let's put in a CD, and that doesn't cost us anything. And they'll be happy. It's just a different strategy, and they don't care about people anymore. I mean, I'm happy still other companies still offer the entertainment. You should go watch Eric's show on UPNT. Follow all the Universal news. Little plug there. $5.
All right. I'll get you later.
Thank you.
The Super Che.
It's remarkably short-sighted too, because it's you let some of these people go. You let go, a couple of hundred people, and you're going to save, like.
You weren't even paying them. You were only covering their medical, really.
Yeah, it's pennies comparatively. It's such a tiny amount. Like, what are they saving? It's so remarkably short-sighted that, and they're only thinking that way. They're only thinking about what's going to happen. What are the shareholders going to say right now in this quarter? What's going to happen? And they're causing so much long-term harm to their brand. They're causing so much harm, but they don't care. They're not thinking that way.
I don't even think they know what their brand is anymore, but
right?
That's another conversation.
No, he wants it to be a streaming company. They don't know what they are. They think they're a streaming company. That's what they think they are now. They're no different from Netflix and Comcast. They're all the same. All the same thing. And it's a shame, because this company was always held to a much higher standard than everyone else around them, and now they just get lumped in, and then people in the comments go, oh, this is what corporations have to do, and blah, blah, blah. Why is it what they have to do? Who says this? And then, to prove my point the next day, the people of the Oriental Land Company, which is not a racist name, The next day, they take on bigger salary cuts for those executives than they originally anticipated because things are not good.
Yeah.
And that is corporate responsibility.
Yep.
That is a responsibility to human beings you take on. You run a company. When things are good, it's definitely your job to increase those profits. I get that. When the world is in crisis, you got to take care of your own. It's a different situation. If you can stay afloat and also keep as many of your people alive and able to put food on their table as possible, you do it. There's a responsibility. You can't, these people cannot just leave everyone out to fend for themselves. Just because you don't need them when you don't need them doesn't mean you have the right to dump them into the street whenever you feel like it. They're not only there for you when you need them, they're there. And they're your responsibility when the chips are up or the chips are down. They're your responsibility. It doesn't matter. That's it.
I think that's telling because like it's one of those things that like sure we all know that they suck in their positions that they are in, but it also tells that they are sucky people, just in general.
Yeah. Don't care.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Don't care. So again, I'll reiterate this. We told people to do this on News Today. I want people to share, go on social media, share your memories of these entertainment groups. Talk about how upset you are about these decisions, and use that hashtag #FireChapek, because I think the only thing this company ever responds to, and we know personally here at WDWNT, as you saw earlier, because I will tell you, I got a hell of a phone call after I showed those emails. They respond very well to being publicly shamed, and so publicly shame them. There are people assigned to watching this show. There are people assigned to watching social media and everything we post and everything other sites post. So if you guys go on there and you put hashtag #FireChapek, it's going to get to some people, and you're going to make a difference. It's going to make a bigger difference than anything else you can do, and I can tell you from 13 years of experience, it will get to the right people, and it will shake things up. Make it happen. It's all you.